Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I thought I'd give you a bit of a walkthrough of the second ear test in the Rockschool exams, known as Groove Recall. This one is also worth 5 marks, it's also worth 5% of the overall exam. So this one's the tougher out of the two ear tests. People tend to do a little bit less well at this one, much trickier. So don't be concerned if during practices you're not getting them completely right. It's perfectly respectable to go into the ear tests and get maybe sort of 4 or 5 on the first one, which I've covered in a separate video, the fill, playback and recognition, and then maybe only 2, 3 or 4 out of 5 for this one. If you walk out of the ear test with 7 or 8 out of 10 overall across the two tests, that's perfectly respectable. So don't be concerned first of all if you find this one a little bit trickier, because it is trickier and everybody finds it trickier. So how does it work? Okay, so the same principle holds all the way through debut grade all the way up to grade 8. Once we reach, I believe it's grade 4, there's an added element, which is not only do you have to play back the groove that you've just heard, but you also get given a list of genres. So did you hear jazz or rock or Latin? And then the list of genres gets a little bit longer. I think it's 3 options when you do grade 4, and it grows to 4 options later in the grades. But the fundamental principle of the groove recall exercise stays the same, and that is you're going to hear a drum groove which can be played on any part of the drum kit. So unlike the first ear test, which can only be played on the snare. So whatever you're listening out for, it's only going to be on the snare. The groove recall can be anywhere around the drum kit. That includes the toms, any of the cymbals. There can and there will be crash cymbals in the later grades in particular. So that's one of the things that makes it so much trickier. So you're going to hear a 2-bar phrase, so 2 bars of drum groove, and it's going to be played a total. That 2-bar phrase is going to be played a total of 8 times. So you'll hear bar 1, bar 2, bar 1, bar 2, and then a gap with a click in, and then you'll hear bar 1, bar 2, bar 1, bar 2 again. And then, like the first ear test, the fill, playback and recognition, there is a silence in which you can practice, and you should practice. The difference is the silence in the second ear test, the groove recall, doesn't seem to be as perfectly measured as the silence in the fill, playback and recognition. So in fill, playback and recognition, we've got time for you to practice twice, whatever it is you think you've heard. In this one, the timing's a little bit less even, so you should still practice, but be prepared for the click that leads into the actual test to interrupt your practice. And when that does happen, don't be concerned. So I'll play you, this is just an example from debut. It's going to be a very straightforward one, because I don't want to throw anyone who's watching this, who's doing debut. But for those of you taking the higher grades, the principle is exactly the same, with the added element of telling the examiner what genre you think you heard. So let's do this very simple example, this debut example. So that time I just sat and listened. Now I'm going to air drum. So I think I know what I've heard. Okay, I think I heard.
1,
I've
2,
been interrupted
3,
as expected.
4.
And if this was one of the later grades, grade 4 upwards I believe, I would then be presented with a list of genres. Did I just play rock? Did I just play jazz? Did I play Latin, for example? But you'll find with that list of genres, they're never going to be too very similar. So you're not going to be asked, did you hear rock, punk or metal? Because those genres are all so similar that it would be very difficult for anybody to tell the difference from a drum groove alone. So it will always be 3, or in the later grades 4, distinct genres: jazz, samba, rock or blues, for example. They're not going to give you very similar examples. So what's important to remember, much like the first ear test, the fill, playback and recognition, is to listen first of all. Don't play anything, don't make any noise. Listen to the first time around. Then when you hear the click leading into the repeat, air drum. Again, don't hit anything that's going to make any noise because you still need to be able to listen to what you're hearing. As soon as the second recording plays through, it's time to practice. I think I heard foot, foot, snare, foot, snare. So I'm sat there and I'm playing along. I think that's what I heard, and I know that the silence I've been given in which to practice is not long enough for me to practice the whole thing through again. I'm going to be interrupted, and that's alright, I'm expecting that. Then the click starts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's 4 bars of click in which you play the 2-bar groove phrase that you heard, you play it twice. Now in the earlier grades, although it's a 2-bar phrase, it will be the same groove every time. So the one I just heard, foot, foot, snare, foot, snare, foot, foot, snare, foot, snare. So both bars were exactly the same. So all I've got to do really is play the one groove 4 times round to get my marks. In the later grades, bars 1 and 2 will differ, so the groove will be different in bar 1 and bar 2. So it really becomes a 2-bar phrase in the real meaning of the word. So you're playing those 2 bars twice. I hope that's helped. Any questions, give me a shout. Thanks for watching. See you again soon. Bye now.